So,
Anyways.
welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. I am your co-host, Collin, joined by
Spencer.
and Jacob is not with us today because he is off on a secret recruitment mission.
For the Canadian FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's off getting babes and drinking martinis and stuff.
He is actually getting babes,
Oh,
and
he's
they're
absolutely
paying to see him.
Yes.
Wow, what a surprise.
So he is not joining us this week. He may be back next week. We don't know yet. We haven't heard from him. He's been going incognito.
Like me on a Friday night.
Buy a comic that might cost more than a dime. Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
So, we are going to be talking about The Crow.
Yes, the movie from 1994. It was directed by Alex Proyas and written by David J. Schow and John Shirley. It stars Brandon Lee in his final film appearance as Eric Draven, a murdered musician who is resurrected to avenge his death and that of his fiancée. The film is based on the James O'Barr's comics of the same name. So this movie is, I think, more known for the fact that a tragedy happened on set than it is for like existing. Honestly.
And also,
'cause people-
it's a big name tragedy as well.
Right.
It's not just like because tragedies happen on. It's like you said earlier, tragedies happen on sets.
Yeah,
quite often.
there's a lot of like
or accidents.
there's
at least.
there's a even on really high profile movies. There's a stunt woman on Deadpool 2. I don't remember if she was hospitalized or if she died doing a stunt. And it's like a lot of this stuff obviously gets very much so shoved under the rug because they're stunt people. We don't care. And it's like, but when it's your main star, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people know about The Crow, like kind of vaguely, like which is weird because it's a hyper obscure, very short run comic.
I actually don't think it's that strange because you know why? So think about the hyper obscure comics that become movies. So like say Spawn, and we have Blade, and we have The Crow, and then we get Hellboy, and all these people that like are older than us, or like let's say blue collar workers. Anyone that I work with, they know about all four of these characters, but they do not know that they exist as a comic or originated there.
It's a weird thing that happened, particularly like the 90s into the early 2000s, where we had this push of like, there was horror thriller infused like comic adaptations. Frankly, a lot of them weren't great, but like...
But they were fun.
Yeah, a lot of them were fun. And it's this weird cultural thing. Because like some people kind of have an idea that they're based off of comics or whatever, but like people know about The Crow. If you say the movie The Crow, they might not know which Crow movie because there's other ones and they're all bad. But they have like a vague idea in their head, and it's really weird because this was a very low budget movie that wasn't really finished. It was kind of just assembled and shipped out, and then didn't make a lot of money, and then like they tried resurrecting the franchise a few times, but it's kept falling into development hell.
That really hurts me that this tragedy happens and that this whole movie became kind of like an assembly because I actually really liked a lot of the vibes.
I like so I
like even when the CGI is shitty, like I don't care. Like the practical effects are pretty good and what's going on, like what I see at least for visuals seems to be clicking right.
Yeah, it's a really... So I watched this probably when I was like 14, I think. Maybe.
I watched this in the beginning of this year, I think.
Really? Okay.
Or like last year.
Yeah, I watched this once or twice a while back. I think my dad was like he might have been sick or something and like staying home for the week, and then he watched like all of the Crow movies and something.
Oh.
Not going to talk about any of the other ones, but this one I remember like vaguely enjoying, and I've read like 3 issues of the comics.
You've actually read some.
Like 3 of them, like tiny, like literal, like a few, like the tiniest handful.
Okay.
And then a bunch of Wikipedia searching, obviously, because that's how I live. So I'm not really familiar with it, but I pretty confident I liked it then, and like now, the movie doesn't just come across tragic because a tragedy happened on set. It comes across like this could have been pretty good if it was finished properly or didn't have to work around the limitations they were given. It's low budget. There are some effects which have aged horribly. Some of them have aged pretty interesting. And Lee's performance is really good. Like, I'm pretty confident he's universally loved for this role.
I think he actually did like really well. I think the only times I felt like cringing was because the sound design wasn't matching up. Like he was good. Oh, there's actually a couple of guys. So like
That's the general thing with the movie is the sound effects and the editing and like the music is very stock.
Yep.
Which part of that is just being low budget. But if you're low budget, you can still like modulate sound effects. Like Halo, my favorite video game franchise. Most of the first few installments, they didn't record their own gun noises. They were using stock noises. They just screwed with them enough on a computer, and it makes it distinct. They clearly didn't either have the time or money to do that here, and it feels not like a real assembly cut because those are like 4 hours long.
Yeah.
But it feels kind of like that. It's not polished like at all. It's a rough vision of what was there. It functions. But yeah, the music can be pretty generic and like over the top in the wrong way, and the editing is sloppy.
But like I think most of the acting is pretty solid. Like the leader for the 4 bad guys, right? Like
Yeah.
I thought he was actually like pretty good. I thought he was really good in the scene where he died. Like, where he realizes who the Crow is and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think most of the performances are at least solid.
Yeah, they're solid.
The dialogue is pretty rough. I will say, like, the script isn't great, but also I don't remember the comics being terribly profound either.
No, they're
so
not.
it's kind of expected.
They're
I have
edgelord.
I have a big soft spot for those dumb, 80s to 90s kind of just edgy to be edgy stuff. Like
it's like the inner teenager is like still like hanging on by a thread.
As you were saying when we were watching it, it's like motherfuckers when they listen to My Chemical Romance once.
Yeah,
it's like
literally
we're all like that sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be weird about it, but everybody has their very over the top dramatic moments, and it's like it's fun.
I still listen to
My Chemical Romance is good.
Yeah, it's great. I listen to most of my music is emo. If not metal or like metalcore, I mean, it's emo.
Yeah, like this movie is The Crow is a little bit more up my alley than Spawn is. I'm not speaking the movie because the Spawn movie is bad, but like
very
Spawn as a character has a really strong, a really bad time moving on and like growing up because mostly it's just been Seth MacFarlane. Not Seth.
Technical difficulties.
Scott MacFarlane. Sorry. I was about to say Seth MacFarlane is a comedian. Yeah. I like Spawn. The art is almost always really, really phenomenal, especially the most recent stuff.
That's what's bothersome too. Is like when you're not into a story.
Because Scott MacFarlane is an artist. He's not a writer, and he's written most of the Spawn comics for its entirety. And yeah, it shows they're really cyclical. They don't really move on, but like a couple of the ideas are really cool. I mean, Jacob's talked about it a fair few times on the show. He's been slowly carving through it, and like some of the stuff in the beginning is really interesting. A lot of the art's pretty cool, and there's a lot of just edge to be edge. And apparently, I can't confirm this, the past couple of years have been pretty solid, improved writing at least, and then they've been taking a lot of really weird directions. Also, Greg Capullo's art is goated, so he's been doing Spawn for like a decade now, which is great. But obviously, like Spawn's a way bigger property than The Crow, but The Crow seems a little bit more there's a little bit more substance to it. It's definitely edgy and it's a bit over the top and it's very emo, but like it clearly has the capability to have more depth, whereas Spawn
I think you'll have to change some things about The Crow.
Well, yeah.
So what I mean is like its story, it's very edgy, and I think for it to go forward or to like make a comeback at least for one movie.
Yeah.
Is they have to change a little bit about the story. I think, so like the main story is that this musician was killed while trying to save his girlfriend from being murdered and redacted.
You can say it, it's fine.
Murdered and raped by 4 disgusting men, and I think that's a little much, as realistic as it actually sadly can be.
Yeah.
I think for it to make a comeback, it would have to like redact the idea of like her being raped, or at the very least, it would have to like what's the word I'm looking for?
I know what you're saying. Here's a better way to say it. Okay. So Spawn has it doesn't have this issue for one reason. That's because his wife, I believe, she's alive. She's living her own life. That's part of the really interesting part of Spawn is he has memories of a life that doesn't exist anymore, and then he has to like figure out what he's gonna do now. All that sort of fun stuff. This is literally fridging by like definition. This is just we have the only real woman in the story be the person we kill and mutilate so the guy has motivation. It's like, you can do that, but you have to be careful with that because it comes across like it's a very like it's a very socialized like dude fantasy of like I'm going to avenge my girlfriend from
Yeah,
it's
and
like
I don't really like that.
no, like there's ways to do that are intelligent and more nuanced. Or, you know, they can more so be about the fact that, like, you wanting to go victimize more people because someone you know was victimized is bad. But, like, The Crow's not going to do that. It's not about to be subversive. It is a revenge fantasy. So, making it a little bit... putting more effort in before all of the events take place. So, like, developing the relationship more. So, it doesn't just feel like her being dead is, like, a motivational thing. She's an actual character. And that's the thing is, in this movie, she's...
Give us, like, maybe 20 minutes of,
yeah, like a little bit.
relationship.
Versus in this movie, she's present and they have some flashbacks, but she's not really a character. We don't have any characterization to her.
I have, like, no feelings towards her, really.
Right, like, clearly she's vaguely attractive, and I guess she's probably, like, sweet or whatever, and, like, that's it. There's nothing really there.
No.
To be fair, none of the other characters in this movie really have a lot of characterization either, but they have more than she does. And that's the contrast between it is, like... if you develop that relationship more beforehand, no matter however you want to quote unquote modernize the story or do a new adaptation or revive the comics, who I think every once in a while they come back with a new book or something. However you want to do that, I think that's kind of a key factor because that's kind of what ages it poorly. Isn't that it's over the top and dark and oh my gosh, look, shadows and lightning. It's the kind of sexist undertones. It's like this is very 90s guy revenge flick. And like I have a soft spot for those because of course I do. But like that's the thing that just kind of rings out weird. But other than that, like I was when we were watching it, I told you, like this is again, it's a pretty low budget production. I really like the way that they did his face makeup because instead of where, especially now, mostly just post Heath Ledger Joker, all sorts of face makeup in any movie, especially a superhero movie, it's supposed to be smeared, and then like you watch it fall apart as the movie goes on. I mean, obviously 2019's Joker is a very big proponent of this, which is fine. I like that in this, it does get smeared a little bit around the lips, like when he gets hit or whatever, but like it's clearly, it is grease paint. It is supposed to be water resistant, and because this movie basically all takes place during the nighttime and rain, the fact that he's doing stunts and fighting and crying and like all sorts of stuff, and it's staying like that, it's just a really interesting image. It's more interesting, I think, than just having it like wash off all the time. Because we've seen that, and it works in some stories, especially, you know, that was a part of Robert Pattinson's Batman that a lot of people got attached to. It was like, oh my god, they leave on the mascara, ooh. Which I get that. I love that. It works for him. It would look pretty bad on a lot of the other guys, but it works for him.
No, I've seen some edits, and I know edits are bad, but like I've seen edits of like, so say, I would not do that to BVS Batman. But I mean,
can you imagine Superman wearing mascara?
Shut up. No, I think it would be cool if Batman did have that, but I wouldn't want that because I like how like super stupid that movie is.
You would have to redesign other parts. That's the thing is with the Batman is it's kind of designed around him switching in and out of his costume, putting in a backpack, all sorts of fun stuff. Whereas BVS is a pretty grungy movie, but when it comes to Batman, he does have a certain type of tidiness to his aesthetic.
Yes,
he has like there's the
like the whole Batcave. It's not just like a cave that he has built up. It's literally
it's built into a cave.
Yes, it's built into the cave.
Yeah, like it's obviously it's an aesthetic I love, but like there are parts there are little touches of naturalism in it, like the fact that it's basically a box that he shoved into the cave.
Yeah,
and then like you know the grappling guns have wooden handles, like little things like that, but. It does have the, I don't know, it does, I don't notice when he rips the cowl off and then the next shot shows him with no eye makeup. I don't blink.
No, I don't
But with the Batman, it fits a lot more with his extremely disheveled nature.
Yes.
And I think that's something
because he's supposed to be like a drug addict.
Basically. And I think the Crow it can go either way with the Crow.
I was about to say, let's go back to the Crow.
I could definitely see a story pulling it either way. It's a minor detail.
I'd rather it not.
But I like the fact it makes him feel like a ghost.
Yes.
Like he's just this unchangeable visage. I mean, that's something that like Morpheus from Sandman has in the comics. is this pale white dude with crazy pointy hair, and his eyes are galaxies of stars.
Yep.
He doesn't change. He never looks any different, and that's really cool because it lends to the non-corporeal thing that he is. He's not a physical being, really.
No, he is
can
a
exist physically.
manifestation of dream.
Right, and that's the same thing with the Crow, is like he physically has a body. Obviously, he can get shot and stuff, but like you could take that a step further, and he can interact with the world, but the world can't interact with him. Like he can punch you, but you can't hit him, or so the bullets pass through him instead. Like you can go different ways with that, and I don't think that really takes anything away from the character. It's just there are ways to explore this. This is a really cool concept that I don't think was really developed beyond that.
No.
I definitely think this movie runs about 95 minutes, I believe.
It's pretty short film.
Yeah, I think it could still get kind of tightened up in the edit. It definitely feels a little, not bloated. It's a shallow movie.
Yes, it is.
Which I think is also partially due to the fact that they weren't able to shoot all of the scenes that they had written. So I'm sure that's part of it. But also, there isn't much there under the surface. It's pretty surface level. There are little tinges of like the more heady, quote unquote, elements, when he just whips out poetry and Bible verses, it's like it's an aesthetic thing. It's not like an integral part of it.
No.
I mean, it's the vibe is integral to it.
I like it a lot though.
Yeah, no, I agree, but like that can be developed further, so it is integral to the way the movie works versus like it's just kind of a vibe thing,
Yeah, because this whole movie, that is how this whole movie works. It's a vibe.
This movie is a vibe check.
It's just a vibe. So
this is I'm gonna say it. This is about Daredevil for me. The movie, the 2003 movie.
Oh, yep.
This is about the same tier. It's a bit shallow. It has some really cool ideas. I think this is definitely
the vibe.
Definitely like the vibes, and some of the performances are really good. I think this is a lower quality, but I do enjoy it more because Daredevil does break its vibe every once in a while, and it's very awkward. Like the goofy ass romance stuff is really out of left field for what is for the most part, pretty over the top emo movie.
Yes. I love
they play Evanescence. Like,
yes,
come on. It doesn't. It takes itself so seriously. It's funny.
It's so funny that.
But when it's randomly wholesome, you're like, I don't buy it.
I think it's so funny that we had a period in time where like the music that I actually liked was in movies of things that I do like. I love that.
So it's like a 6, 7 out of 10. Like it's got some big issues. It's fun though.
I give it a solid like 5.5 out of 7.
That's high, but I'll take it.
I'd give it that. Well, it's because I enjoy it.
It's an enjoyment factor.
Like,
more so than a quality thing.
I'll even like put it on in the background.
This is definitely a good background movie. This is like I'm sick and I'm doing other things type of like I can.
Or like I'm building Bionicles or I'm playing with Legos.
Yeah, like something like that. This is definitely good for that. It's a
or
good
I'm
vibe
drawing
movie.
And I need a vibe.
Right, but it's not a great movie to just kind of sit and hyper focus on. Whereas I can't watch. The comparisons are overdone at this point, but like I can't just watch the Batman and do other stuff. Like that is a movie to sit down and watch. There is so much to it.
Here's my thing. This is why I watch.
It's because you've watched it so many fucking times.
Yes, I was supposed to say.
I know.
No, it's because I've watched so many times that I can sit and I hear a line and I'm like, I see it in my head.
I mean, I get that because that's what it was like with.
What I do is like I love the beginning half of the movie.
Yeah,
that's like my favorite part. So I'll sit there at least and watch the whole thing. The only scene that I know for sure I have to sit through is the opening scene of Batman.
Oh, yeah, the opening scene is fucking great.
And the ending scene.
That's fair.
Those are the only two parts I know I
good
have
vibes.
to. Have
to. That's fair because that's what
it gets me ready for my vibes.
That's what I was like with BVS, which we know. Like, the Batman is a much better movie, but like. Batfleck hits in the feels, it's got that little paper clip in my heart.
Well, yeah,
it's got because that's what I used to say. Is because that I can read so much into it and like point out these godforsakenly small details that no one cares about. But
favorite part
I can now because I've seen it hundreds of times. Probably I can kind of put it on the background. I would prefer not to, but like I can. So that's probably just an exposure.
BVS still gives me chills.
Well,
sometimes.
Like The Crow is good. It's good. It's not great.
Moving on.
Is definitely a good performance from Brandon Lee, though.
Yes, it's a great performance, and I'm glad that at least he's like remembered for this.
Yeah.
So like I get very upset when I realize or have been told that an actor has passed during a certain movie, but then I appreciate those movies. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad for lack of a better term, I am glad that at least they're known for these movies, and that's how they're going to be remembered, is for these roles that they did very well at.
Yes.
And this is what they're going to be remembered for.
So, another fun, positive thing. Andor Episode 7 came out this week.
So this episode felt shorter than the last couple.
I actually felt like it was a little longer, not because it was, but because the structure was kind of funky. So, it is Cassian going back to the planet whose name I don't remember to go visit his surrogate mother, and is like, yo, I got a butt ton of money, we're going to leave. And then she is finally going, nah, fuck it.
I'm the rebellion now.
I'm tired of hiding. And that was a really cool scene, because at first I was getting frustrated with her. I was like, he went through all of this. You heard on the news. You know what he did. And it's like, this show is doing a really good job at making me feel for all of the characters, with minor exceptions.
I felt like,
it's not some. I'm confused to what the right choice is here, and that's the thing. I think that's the really careful distinction. Is like, I understand why Cassian wants to run. He is wrong, and he's going to learn that. And you have like the stuff with the other characters in the rebellion. It's like they're all going about the way that they want to use the rebellion differently. And then you have, I keep forgetting his name, the guy that Skarsgård is playing, and he's
fantastic.
He's going, like, I really liked his exchange with Mon Mothma. Them sitting in his fake front shop, and is like this is the time. Like, now, because that's the thing that this show is really demonstrating is people are always going to be disgruntled about whatever government structure exists. That's a given, whatever. But like, this show is going, the Empire is getting louder. They're not just quietly doing stuff. They're openly being tyrannical, and that's what they're pushing the rebellion to do what the rebellion's going to do. And
I surprisingly really enjoy the Empire, the Imperial, like, higher ups.
It's really fun to watch, to see how, like,
and I'm
really
rooting
weird
for that girl, like the woman. The one, I don't know what her name is. I can never remember. But like, I want her to win, even though I know she's going to get.
But she's so insane.
She's going to get our characters in trouble.
Yeah.
But like, I want her to win.
And that's the cool thing, is because it's a really interesting way to demonstrate that the way that the Empire currently is broken up into different sectors is they're not allies. The ISB are not coworkers.
No
they're
way.
rivals. And it's like, this is the hyper fractionalized, like, we're going to make you all fight to be the better sector shit. And it's like, that's why the Empire's going to fall. Is not just because it's like an openly tyrannical, like, crazy fucking thing, but like, it's not trying to have people work together. It is just going, you guys should be, you guys should all be competing and like falling all over each other and being cutthroat. And it's really satisfying to watch, but like, it's horrible. And I really like, also we saw Admiral Yularen, which was pretty cool. They don't really give him any fanfare, but that the guy, the announcer from Clone Wars, who's in the show.
Oh,
yeah, he doesn't look like he did before, which is fine, like, no big deal. And they did name drop Palpatine, but like, I love the fact that it's taken 7 episodes for us to basically get any reference to anything else. This show is very good at being self-contained.
We have stormtroopers right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I know we got tankers.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't tell if they were like saying, oh, they're in like. Okay, so you know the part in this episode where he's running, not running on that like hot planet, but he's running at his planet, and we see white soldiers.
Yeah.
I can't tell their helmets.
Those are stormtroopers.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell.
I
was like, do I seriously see clone troopers? That doesn't seem right. That timeline doesn't add up.
So that was him I like how they're drip feeding us information about his childhood, which is pretty nice. That's how he got conscripted. So obviously there's all this stuff on his original home planet. The parents all seem to like die or whatever. You got the village of children, and then the merchants / whatever the hell his surrogate mother is. They find him. They take him off the planet. Whatever the hell happened to that planet, they still aren't really saying what the hell happened there. They're dancing around a lot of massacres, which are like known canonically, which I'm very impressed with. They're like, you know what happened. Go look it up on Wikipedia. And then he went and lived with her and her husband, ? And then when there was like a mishap and then the stormtroopers killed his surrogate dad, he went to attack him. He got conscripted, and that's how he was in the service. Because that's like that. Because
wait, hold on. So the last thing that we saw of him, that's now, right?
Yes, the stuff on the beach planet, that is now.
Yes, that's what I thought.
But the stuff with the kid running against the stormtroopers with a stick, that's him as a kid.
That's him as a kid?
Like a teenager.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
Wait, what did I miss?
He's just having flashbacks. He's hearing the stormtroopers and remembering the last time he was running.
No, because he's talking to his mom. He's talking to his mom when we see that. And then she's talking about a kid. So she was talking about him?
Yeah. The only little bit that felt kind of weird with this episode, like you said it felt short, and then I said it felt long, is the bit on the like beach planet at the end where he's like, fine, screw it, I'll leave. And I think there's got to be at least a little bit of a time jump there, because like it looks like he's got like a girlfriend or like like a fuck buddy probably, and yeah, and like he gets caught up in some nonsense and then gets thrown into fucking prison, and that's where we're left off. That scene made me so fucking angry. That was like frankly, that was the definition of talking to a cop. It's like they're just trying to get you.
Are those cops? Are those the cops that I know?
Yeah,
in real life.
Them trying to get you to admit to something. It's like
that you didn't even do.
No, because
they don't. Even a part of.
They don't care.
No, they don't.
And also that
shit.
Not Scout Trooper, but that trooper was played by Sam Witwer.
I don't know who that is.
He voices Maul and Palpatine in the Clone Wars, and he's the one who played Starkiller in the old games.
That's him?
Yeah, that's Sam Witwer.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
I love him so much. He's amazing.
He's been bouncing around the fandom for a while. He just randomly is like, we need you for 5 minutes. He's like, okay.
Yeah, I know.
He'll do anything.
Yeah, no, I love him. But you're so fucking good as well.
That was so annoying.
Okay, so
I got a little nervous when they showed the security droid, because I was like, please don't introduce K2 like this, because there is a canon comic which is over that, and they did say that they didn't want to touch K2 until next season. Mm-hmm. They said they're going to have him show up, but like it wasn't going to be until later, and I was like, please don't do it this early. It would feel a little like I
was actually getting upset too,
because that was the thing. I like that they're showing the droids, because I really like those droid models.
I love their silhouettes are so fascinating.
They're kind of spooky.
They are. I like them a lot.
I just appreciated that. I was like, oh no, and that's like no, because he reprograms K2 when he's already in the rebellion. Like he goes on a mission and finds a droid, and it's like, fuck it, we'll use it. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball. He is the definition of fuck it, we ball.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like this. I was in the episode, when I was watching it, I was texting the group chat, and I was getting so pissy with Mon Mothma for a minute, because I was like, because she's trying so hard to skirt in the initial scene. She's trying to skirt away from open violence so bad, because she really wants to ride out like the secrecy as long as possible, and the other characters like, nah, like we're done with that. Like now is the time, because that's the thing, is they need to show open like fighting back against the Empire, because that's what people need. It's not because they necessarily need everyone on every planet to become part of the rebellion, capital R rebellion.
They need to make an announcement.
Exactly. That was a nice moment. It's like, it's not, it wasn't a robbery. It was an announcement. That was a good moment.
That was great.
And I like that. I'm getting angry at the scene. Like, I'm getting so pissy with her. And then in the next scene, when she's recruiting her like childhood friend or whatever, that dining room banquet scene, that was so good. Just watching them dance around the room and like talking in mildly coded language, and it's like, yeah, my politics might be a little extreme for you.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, the dialogue was so freaking
Mommy
good.
Mothma.
I like that, because it was making me angry with her, and then it's clear that like she isn't just fronting to the people in the Empire or Empire loyalists. She's even fronting to people within the rebellion with whatever it is now. It's like, nobody knows the real Mon Mothma. I think that's really interesting, because I don't think she does either, but that's a me thing.
I think if nobody knows who you are, then that means you definitely don't know who you are.
No, because we have no definition of self without other people. You don't know what you look like without a mirror.
No.
Like, you have, obviously, there isn't, like, it's not like your brain doesn't realize that you're a person, but, like, there are parts of self-realization you can't do without other people.
I'm not going to know what's right here on my face without a mirror.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to know...
you don't have a complete picture.
Yeah. I'm not going to know exactly... I know there's curls right here, I just don't know how it looks.
Yeah, I just really appreciate how well they're balancing politics in the purest of senses, and interpersonal drama. They're tying it together in a way that doesn't feel... It just feels more personal without sacrificing the large-scale nature of it. Because, like, Rogue One, one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I still have some gripes with it, but, like,
Sure.
it is a nice... It's a big, bombastic, like...
I think it's a great rebellion movie.
It is, but it's like a rallying cry. But you have to get there first. Not everyone's on the same page. Even in that movie, not everyone's on the same page. But, like, it's a movie, so it's a little bit more streamlined. You know, we have to have our big, dramatic, rebellions are built on hope moments. You know, like, you got to do that. But this show is, like, it takes people a lot of pushing. Like, when he... the quote-unquote open contradictions of this show, when he's, you know, in Rogue One, he's like, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old, like, whatever, and then the show shows him in numerous points in his life, like, not being part of the rebellion. It's like, it's not the capital R rebellion. It's the fact that he's been oppressed by this government structure his entire life. And that's the thing, is it's doing a really interesting...
Because even though...
It's opening up a different route I didn't think the show was going to take. It's like, it's simultaneously showing the big scale, cool, big battle stuff, but also, like,
you don't
this
need
one...
to be a part of the opposing team to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Affected by what's going on.
It makes like Jyn Erso's arc actually make a lot more sense with him, because, like, they talk, they push back on each other in Rogue One a bunch, but, like, you know, they have a type of chemistry. I again, as I said, when we watched Rogue One ages ago, you know, years ago, it's like, I like how they didn't have to make it romantic.
No, I like
that was
it
nice.
A lot.
But, like, this is baking so much more backstory into his handful of comments, not just in the sense of, like, wow, it's retconning things so it makes more sense. It's like, this feels like real. Not like this was necessarily planned by the people who made Rogue One, but it feels like it's merging his arcs together, because it's like all those things he said, now, not just that we've seen them, but, like, it took him until he was in his 30s to be a part of the capital R rebellion. It took his entire life of being pushed around and stomped on before he said, fine, fuck it, we're done.
So I agree with you where it feels real. So say, like, let's take all the handful of stuff that he said in Rogue One, right? And then we're looking at the show, people can go and straight say, well, these don't match up. Well, guess what? When you tell people shit in real life, they don't match up.
No, it's vague and it's
more,
narrativized.
What you tell people is your emotions.
Right.
It's not the facts.
Yeah, we narrativize our own life stories, and it's like...
Because it makes sense.
Right.
You as a person, you as a human being, you're not a story, you're not a book, you're not a movie, you're not a song.
You're not
sense. You do not make sense
you're
chronologically.
You're not the protagonist.
You as a person, for things to make sense, you do have to force it to.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you create your own story in your brain.
Exactly.
Sure.
And growth is
your life.
Growth is non-linear.
Yeah, so to grow your life,
you backslide and you go down and you go back up, and
you need to see yourself as a character.
Right.
That's at least for me. So me as a person, I have to see myself as the protagonist, or like at least some type of character.
Right. That's how we make sense of it.
Yeah. Even though for a long time I felt like I was a side character.
Yeah.
So,
Robin.
Yeah. No, Robin. But Robin can be a main character. Anyway, back to Andor. I think people forget that humans do that.
Yeah.
Or they don't even know, which I don't think most people know.
Like, of course, it could be there are some technical fuck-ups on the dates, and, like, that can definitely happen, obviously. I'm sure there's plenty of, they're like, we're going to just smooth over this detail because it doesn't actually line up.
I'm fine with that not lining it up.
As long as it's close-ish, and it's for the story. It's not because you did a fuck-up and, like, it's just a detail you want to fix. Like, that's when you get into,
a good excuse is to be like, well, he's a human being. He doesn't know. He can't tell you every single fucking date of everything. Right,
and it's like, because there's been a lot of the only real online fan discourse for this show, because there's no fan service anywhere, which is fucking awesome. Is like, how old is Cassian? Like, trying to get the dates to line up, not even to be weird about it, but it's like, wait a minute, like, just trying to explore, and it's like, it eventually will make sense if you squint hard enough, and that's fine. But it doesn't come across as, like, a sloppy detail. Whereas, like, say, if in the sequel trilogy, Rey and Kylo were, like, twins, or they were siblings even, that would feel like a retcon, because there's a 10-year actor age gap, and they're demonstrated to be different ages. It's not just, like, Rey, when the trilogy started, she's, like, 19.
Yeah, she's
They're-
like
they're-
a young, bright-eyed girl.
Yeah, and Kylo
where
is like
Kylo
in his
is-
late 20s.
He's a existential emo late 20-year-old.
Yeah, he's a washed up has-been. Like they're clearly set up to be very different ages, and then whoever their parents were, like it just the way some of those theories that we had during that time period were set up, it would be serious retconning material just to make it a cool twist. And that's what I don't want. I don't want retcons to make cool twists. I want retcons to make the character fuller. And that's the thing that this show is doing, is it's not just, tweaking a little bit of details here and there. It's doing it so
it's not hard to do that because he's only in one movie.
Right. It's so the character has more room to grow, and so the creators of this show can do what they want to do.
I hope it gets a ship soon.
Yeah, at some point. It's clearly it's actual creative freedom. It's we will work with your writers to kind of tweak the lore a little bit. We'll try to make the dates work so the actors' ages line up a little better. But like we're doing it so you have the freedom to tell the story you wanted to about this character, which clearly means a lot to the people working on it. Like Diego Luna was so hyped to come back for this like 3 years ago when they announced it, and it's like, wow, the show about a character from the movie, like the show that no one asked for about a character that no one liked, which is wrong, but like whatever, from the movie that no one asked for. And it's like, yeah, and it's like the best thing.
It is.
And it's because they want to make it. It's not being made to fill a hole in the timeline.
Obi-Wan.
Sadly, yes. Like, even though there were some highlights of that show, it was made to fill a spot. This was a show that the writer and showrunner, Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna, wanted to tell. And they're just being told, like, fuck it, we ball, we're going to do it.
Fuck
and
it,
it's
we ball,
so cool. And then the last thing I have is just on Cyril, the dweeby little
I
boy.
wanted to talk about him.
I appreciate the fact. So I remember the first time we talked about it with Jacob was, I thought that the ISB lady was going to be the traitor or whatever. I think she's going to be riding out Empire till she dies. For selfish reasons, obviously. I think Cyril could go one way or the other. Because in this episode, he's realizing, like, obviously he drank the Kool-Aid.
I like that he's a third party. He seems like a character that, like, drank the Kool-Aid, and he was actually, like, trying to stay, like, some type of person in society as this big shot.
He thought he was doing the right thing. That doesn't excuse the fact that what he did was wrong and horrible. And he's not necessarily coming to terms with that right now, but I like the fact that they did nepotism to get him a job, and he doesn't blink about that much. But in that job, when they're like, we can just scrub your records, like no big deal, he's kind of taken aback by that. Like the fact that this major fuck up he had in his life, the thing that he thought was going to like kill his career, just because some rich dude wants to overwrite it, can just overwrite. That seems kind of like gross to him almost. And then he's like, I could see them going either way with this character, and I really like that. Like, it's not a redemption arc. It's like him realizing that the expression, like his values aren't changing necessarily, but the expression of his values is like being developed.
Yep.
It's something I can kind of relate to. Like, I used to have very different opinions than I do now on a lot of things.
Me too.
But from what I knew and the people I surrounded myself with, my values haven't changed. The levels have shifted around a little bit, but it's the fact that I wasn't expressing my values in the most efficient or healthy way. I was given bad information, and I was working off of false assumptions to do what I was doing. And like, I like that because I don't think on like this internal level, I haven't really changed from me like 5 years ago, like I'm different externally now because I'm doing so many different things, but like my values haven't changed. I'm living out the things that I was taught and the things that I believe, which are what I believed then, but now I'm doing it in a more developed and like educated way. And it feels like that for him. Like, I'm not going to agree with where this character ends up because there are values he expressively holds that I disagree with, but I like the fact that he's developing himself as a person or is getting pushed to.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I like how
he's a
his
dweeby
mom
little
is
fucking dork. He's some mid-20s. Well, okay, the actor's actually 40, but like clearly like late 20s, washed up, fucking cop wannabe. And it's like, maybe I was wrong. I don't think he's gonna end up in the rebellion, but I think he's gonna have a final act of lowercase r rebellion. Because he's gonna be dead by the time the show is over. Yeah, for sure. He's gonna die. But like, I like that.
I do.
It's like Hux, but if Hux was good. So this is the last episode of Spooky Month, I think, by the time it comes out. I can't remember dates right.
Me neither.
But we have our own... We're back to actually having our own personal talking points again.
Very
It's been
strange.
so fucking long.
Very strange. I do have 2 talking points.
Which is definitely the reason why we did it, was just to give you time to get caught up to Jacob and I, for sure. It wasn't the fact that we all wanted to talk about the same stuff at the same time. We were only doing it for your benefit.
Sure.
So, what the fuck have you been doing?
So recently, I can't remember what day it was. I think it was October 8th. The anime adaptation of one of my favorite mangas came out. There's only 2 episodes so far.
Oh,
Chainsaw Man came out.
yeah.
So, it's pretty simple. Chainsaw Man is about our main character, Denji, who is currently a demon, or a devil hunter. And he is under, if you could say this, the employment of this man who is forcing him to pay a debt his father could not pay before he tragically died. We don't know how he died, but he died. And so now he's indebted.
Chainsaw to the face.
So he's indebted to this man, and when he has sold an eyeball, he has sold I think either liver or kidney, and he has sold his left nut to grow money, to get money to give this guy. It's a ridiculous sum of money, and he lives in a shack on a hill, and he eats like a slice of bread every day, and he shares it with his chainsaw devil that he made a deal with by giving him blood, because devils are able to heal themselves with human blood, and they help each other out.
This series is so weird.
It is weird. They help each other out and to fight devils and survive, I guess. And during a devil hunt, they got into an accident with a zombie devil, and they both were dying, but the chainsaw devil decided to give his heart to Denji, and they became one. So now Denji is what they call not a fiend, because a fiend is a corpse that is taken over by a devil. It's like this new type of thing. That he's kind of like the special thing. But all he wants to do in life is live a normal life and touch boobs. He said, I just want to touch boobs.
Wow.
And that is basically our plot and our story.
Okay then. I've been hearing very positive things about the anime.
Oh, it's fantastic. It is created by MAPPA, the ones who own Attack on Titan now.
Nice.
Which I have been loving fantastically. And we have 2 episodes of that, and I can't remember what days they come out. I'm pretty sure it's weekly. And so that was the first episode, and I'll talk about the second episode now, real briefly. Basically, we're just introduced into what this world is, and we have devils, we have fiends. Devils are basically manifestations of fears. So we have the zombie devil, chainsaw devil, which is a little bit. So basically, if one thing is feared more, it's more powerful. Like the most feared thing basically is the gun devil.
Oh!
Yeah, we have the gun devil, but we aren't introduced to that yet. So there's like gun devil,
so
bomb
funny.
devil. There's Power, which is a devil, which is one of the main characters actually, because that devil became a fiend and is Denji's partner in the second episode. And basically, he's a part of this special operations in the safety department of Tokyo, where they are this operation of fiends and devils and just regular people that are basically like, you're on the brink of being fired from the safety department, and if this operation does not see results, you're either getting fired, or if you are like a devil or fiend, you're getting killed. And so that's where we leave off. It is very good. I finished... What's funny is I actually finished the manga, all 3 books of the manga, or all 11 books, sorry, all 11 books of the manga.
So, about to say, 3 books is really short for a manga.
No. All 11 books of the manga, like a month before, no, I think it was like 2 weeks before they announced that they're making an anime. I had no clue. I just kept seeing so much hype for the manga. I was like, okay, I'll read it. And I got to read it, and it's fantastic. It's so much fun. It's really interesting. There's a lot of really good, profound... like, not a lot of profound moments, but, like, when they are profound, it is very special, like, for manga. But I just love that our main character is just a horny boy that wants boobs.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. He's relatable.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. What have you been consuming?
Okay, so I read The Darkhold, which is...
Haven't done that in a while.
That was, like, the same. That was kind of scary.
Yeah, we kind of sound like the same.
Okay, so it is a Marvel trade paperback, which is 7 one-shots collected. So it's weird.
Okay.
It came out last year in 2021. There are various creative teams. I am not going to go over all of them. There is 5 character-specific one-shots, and then there's the Alpha and Omega issues. So you get your intro to the plot, and then you get a bunch of backstory, and then you get the ending. It's a weird structure, and it doesn't work. Basically... So you know how Wanda goes a little cuckoo, and then she's basically been going back and forth from being not cuckoo to very cuckoo over the past, 20 years in Marvel Comics?
Sure.
She's finally not cuckoo anymore.
Wow.
For real, they're nah, she's just absolutely goated. She's OP as shit. Her and Doom are having a spat because Doom. Also, they were married for a little bit there. That was weird.
Hot.
Very rapey. It was weird.
I thought Doom was cool.
Well, Doom is cool, but sometimes he doesn't like giving people their own autonomy. He's not big on that. He's weird. Anyways, so there's a whole... Yeah. Basically, Doom is using his Doom bots to find the Darkhold, the magic... One of the magic evil books that has all sorts of evil bad magic, and summons Chthon and blah, 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 blah. Elder gods, nonsensical magic stuff. And then to... Basically, reading the book makes you go crazy, but because Doom's smart, he reads it through...
Because Doom's smart.
He reads it through his Doom bots.
Oh my god.
So fucking glasses, basically. Yeah. And it makes him not go totally crazy, and then they...
Because it's through electronics?
Yeah, it's very weird.
That makes sense.
I guess. It's because comics.
Yes, I love
so
comics.
they read the book to summon Chthon, or to go to Chthon's dimension to... kill him and get his powers and stuff. Dimensions and demons and shit. Marvel's demon mythology is so messy. I hate it. It's very all over the place. And Wanda's no, you will not do that, Doom, because you are bad, and I will stop you. And then she recruits basically spider totems from the Spider-Verse events,
yep.
But they're just some of the other elder gods who Chthon fought against, and then they imprisoned him and blah, blah. So they get Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wasp, Black Bolt, and Blade.
That's a very strange lineup.
Yeah. Popular characters. It's this event
Wasp is popular?
Kinda. She's a fan favorite type character. Basically, she needs their help because they're destined to be able to read only a little bit of the book and go a little crazy, but not so much to go real crazy. Then they can travel to the dimension, defeat Chthon. It's all over the place. They get summoned, and then we get a one-shot of what... and a hypothetical version of reality where each one of these 5 characters basically went crazy. They read the book. They read too much of the book. So it's really just a really cool... Basically, a bunch of... The one-shots are the cool part. The actual plot of this event is so fucking lame. I hate it. The Iron Man issue... so all of these are reminiscent of an older style of book. So the Iron Man stuff is the original Iron Man comics from the 60s. It's not Michael Cho, but Michael Cho, maybe, the artist. It's very old school, stiff, simple colors. It's really nice. And it's basically Iron Man going crazy and replacing parts of his body with more and more armor.
Oh, shit.
Eventually, he gets stuck in the armor because, the armor heals him. Because that's the thing, is his armor, protects him and it heals him. It fixes him up. And then at some point, it eats his skin. So he can't leave the armor. It's really body horror heavy. And it's really freaking cool. Pepper is devastated by it. It's a whole thing. The Spider-Man issue is basically, so how Spider-Man, Parker Luck, that whole thing. He is always being thrown under the bus and is always running from one thing to the next thing, and nothing ever works, basically.
Same.
So this story is somehow, some way, basically everyone in this world now is falling apart, basically like zombies, kind of, but they keep going about their days. They're just decomposing. And every 24 hours, Spider-Man, because that's how long his web fluid lasts, has to go around and fix everything. It's the most literal representation of what Spider-Man does.
Oh.
He has to use
these
web...
are So these are like all these characters' problems like embodied.
Yeah, in like
Iron Man,
yeah.
he's a drug addict.
Yeah, right.
He thinks his suit's helping him.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man is always running around trying to fix everything.
So Spider-Man, yeah, basically. So Spider-Man, has to run around every 24 hours. He has to go help everyone. It starts getting actually kind of heartbreaking because he has to like fight his villains, like Dr. Octopus, but like, it's just to keep them going. Like, he's not trying to hurt anybody. Like, Otto's falling apart, and like he has to like patch him up. And then be like, like, I'll be back tomorrow. Like, it's so freaking sad. Like, it's like old school looking Otto Octavius, bowl cut, big goofy goober. So like he has to like use his webs to like tie the octopus tentacles back on. He has to like tie the tentacles back onto him, and he's like, like, you tried. I'll be back again tomorrow. It's like everyone is so screwed. I don't understand exactly why. It's a weird thing. Gwen Stacy is a literal corpse who he returns to at home. It's very bizarre. And then the only other person who is still alive because of how the regeneration stuff works is Mr. Fantastic. And Peter becomes, he has his Joker moment. He uses Mr. Fantastic as web fluid to fix everything. So he just basically, like, not literally, but he basically just shoves Reed Richards into a web cartridge and then just sprays him everywhere. So now Reed is suffering, the only other person that's ever been alive. It's so bizarre. I liked it.
What is this comic?
It's so weird.
I want to read this.
That issue is very good. The Wasp issue is mostly about Wasp's relationship with Hank Pym, her abusive ex-husband.
Yeah.
So it's got that classic, old school 60s Avengers stuff going on, and then it's like clearly showing like him undercutting her, gaslighting her like he did, and then, there's not a loving relationship. She's giving everything for him, and he's just being like, nah, get out of my lab. Make me a sandwich. Literally, make me a sandwich. And then, like a wasp, she's just like, I'ma sting you, and then she has her Joker moment and kills him, and then it's a whole thing. Which was actually quite satisfying, because Hank Pym is a piece of shit. It's weird. It was good. It wasn't quite as enjoyable, but that's just because I'm not very attached to Wasp. Mm-hmm. The Black Bolt issue was basic, so I have no clue how much you know about Black Bolt. Blackagar Boltigan,
No.
King of the Inhumans.
Oh wait, no, never mind. I do know about him.
Okay, basically,
I love him.
His lifelong rivalry with his brother, who doesn't have powers, is like the big thing. Mm-hmm. In this comic, he has no memories, and it's trying to figure out whether or not he is a transmuted version of his brother, or if he is actually Black Bolt. So it's like he's like shot up on the other side of the moon, and he wakes up and he's like, I don't have memories, and he bumps into a bunch of other people and discovers like documents and stuff, and it's like,
and he's talking?
No, he's thinking to himself, and it's like, am I me, and my memories were wiped out by my brother so he can usurp my throne, or am I my brother who wanted to basically take my body, if I could change himself to look like me and then take my place and then shoot me off on the other side. So it's like this constant, who am I thing. It's really weird. It was fine. I'm not that into Inhumans. I've tried to be. I've read a decent bit of them.
Black Bolt feels like he should be something that's super interesting.
He is sometimes. The issue was fine. The Blade issue was really bad, which I'm really disappointed by. Blade's had some.
Surprised.
Blade's been in the public consciousness and in a lot of Avengers books recently, but he's not doing too hot most of the time.
Last time I saw him in the comic was a Daredevil comic.
Yeah, he's been weird.
Defenders. It was a Defenders comic, the recent one.
Yeah, so he basically, New York City has been taken over by vampires, and Kingpin's a vampire, and Kingpin is the Kingpin of all of New York, and then it doesn't make sense. It's big and dumb and loud. The art was fine. It's very stylized. I didn't like it, but it had some merit to the art, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It was weird. Not great. And then the actual event, they literally, the majority of these issues, 5 of the 7 issues that are in this book, are just all alternate timeline stuff. And it's like, yeah, so it finally made its way over here.
How?
Damn.
Wow.
I don't know. So, and then we go back to the Omega issue, and then it's like, oh my gosh, no, my friends, Wanda having recruited all these heroes is like, oh no, my friends read too much of the book, they went crazy. They are these alternate versions now. It's so goofy. And then they all fight, and then they fight against Doom, and then some random kid from some comic that I've never read before, like one of those, the major company, Marvel or DC, acquires a product from 20 years ago, and then they have to integrate it into main continuity somehow. It's one of those things where it's like, I've never heard of this character. I had to look it up on a Wikipedia, and it doesn't make any sense, and nor is it explained in this issue. And it's like,
character?
I don't even remember. That's how weird it is. It's like, the fuck?
Why would you even buy a character then?
I don't know, dude. This was bad. It just was bad. It was $20 because it's 7 issues. It's in that looser. Marvel's been doing a lot of looser books recently.
There's only like 2 interesting issues.
3-ish. It's not great. It wasn't the worst thing I've read recently, but it was not high on the list. I would recommend buying the individual issues that are really interesting, just as what if imagining, just cool little books to read. And those were probably like $5-6 a piece tops. $20 for this book was horrible. So this is like buy it on a clearance rack for $5 or under, or just get the issues. Disappointed. I'm sad, but Wanda being restored to herself, and she's now getting her own series again, and she's teaching at the Strange Academy and also getting her own main comic run is really nice. So I'm glad that she got to that point, but what the fuck was this thing?
No clue.
It wasn't even that spooky. What else have you been doing, sir?
I watched Bullet Train.
Oh, yes!
So I just saw it on Amazon Prime, and I rented it. And so let me pull up a synopsis so I don't butcher it, because I was easily able to bring a synopsis of Chainsaw Man. This movie's a little different.
This movie is a movie. It is the most movie.
It is. I really like this movie. So Bullet Train. Okay. All these characters have secret little names. So here we go. Bullet Train. Ladybug is an unlucky assassin who's determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs has gone off the rails. Fate, however, may have other plans as his latest mission puts him on a collision course with the lethal adversaries from around the globe, all with connected yet conflicting objectives on the world's fastest train. So this is set in Tokyo, and we follow a couple characters actually. Initially, it's Ladybug, who is doing a job that wasn't originally his. He is back from a hiatus because he's been doing some inner searching,
Going to therapy.
Like a fucking pleb, and he's doing a job for another guy who called in sick, basically. Who calls in sick for an assassin job? Fucking
Ryan Reynolds. That was such a good little cameo.
That was a good little twist cameo.
I like, because it's basically the flip of what they had in Deadpool 2, because Brad Pitt was the Invisible Man thing. You know, that was nice. They're clearly friends.
Yeah. Oh, and what's his face? The one where he Ladybug paid him money to like wear his like hat and jacket.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, I love that Channing Tatum is like ever since that one scene where they had him in this like zombie apocalypse and he's like rubbing up on this dude's like dick with a mask on. Like ever since that scene, everyone's like, "Oh, Channing Tatum would do weird shit." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know why people don't think I would do weird shit. Like I did Magic Mike. Let's do some weird shit."
Is this the sex thing? Is this the?
Yeah, I love this. Is this a sex thing? Because he like so desperately wants to do this.
It's so funny.
So this movie also has characters like we have Tangerine and Lemon and Tangerine.
Oh, my boys.
So I loved those guys. I love that Tangerine, or I love that Lemon he's a lemon. He also like is just autistic and loves Thomas the Trains.
I love him so much. He's my boy.
But he doesn't like know anything about trains. He just knows that Thomas the Train has taught him how to read people.
No, because it's a metaphor.
I know, it's a metaphor. I know. He loves it, which I relate to him in being autistic like that. And
imagine how much money they probably had to pay to allow them to use like the Thomas the Tank Engine name.
No. So they're basically trying to find. It's about this MacGuffin, which is just a suitcase with money in it, and Ladybug is trying to get it because that's his job. And then we have he's trying to take it from Clementine. Wow, Tangerine and Lemon. Lemon and Tangerine have the suitcase because it is the ransom money that they're trying to get the White Death's son, which they're trying to bring his son back to the White Death. But then we follow also the prince, which is a girl.
It's a girl.
It's a woman who's pretending to look like a little girl, which is very unsettling. And this woman is trying to kill the White Death, and she does this by pushing a kid off the roof whose father is connected to the White Death because he is the one that gave the suitcase to Lemon and Tangerine to get the boy.
It's a very long story short, it's a very convoluted plot with a lot of moving parts.
I want to say all the moving parts.
Fine.
And also his father, the guy, the prince, the woman who says she's prince, pushed a boy off a roof. The boy's father is connected to the White Dragon by giving ransom money. But that man who is connected by ransom money has a father who is connected by the White Death because he wants revenge because the White Death took over the Yakuza and he was a part of the Yakuza and now he wants to kill him. Those are all connected parts. I'm not going to spoil Prince. Prince has a different connected part. But the White Death is played by General Zod himself, which is kind of funny because he, when he yells, he just breaks his accent.
It does.
He just sounds like General Zod again, and it's fantastic.
So the whole movie, I've seen this.
He's like, "Don't call me bro."
I watched it 3 times. I legitimately thought it was going to be Keanu Reeves, just because it's a really cameo heavy movie, and it's like that would fit. But Michael Shannon did fucking kill it, though.
I'm glad he wasn't. Because,
no, it would have turned into a meme.
Yeah, it would have turned into a meme because he's already John Wick, and it would be funny if he turned into a Russian dude.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like that.
Well, John Wick is actually Russian.
Shut up. But I need to watch those movies again. Bullet Train was fun. Nothing really profound except for don't surround yourself around diesels. And it was just fun. I liked it. 5 out of 7. No, correct. 6 out of 7. I give it a 6 out of 7. I'd watch it again.
Solid. The only part that I was a little meh on was when the end sequence where the train literally goes off the rails. The movie goes off the rails. So it's a good meme. It's like, okay, the CG's falling apart. It's getting a little too much. Blah blah. The movie's going on. It's like, but also you made the train go off the rails. I see what you did there. Fine.
Yeah,
and I don't like Sandra Bullock, and I've always hated Sandra Bullock, but that's a me thing.
Fuck. Okay, here's the thing. Whenever he was talking to that woman, I'm like,
I knew it was Sandra Bullock.
She's got a sexy voice. Who is this woman? I bet she's not attractive. When I actually see her, and I see her, I'm like, oh, it's Sandra Bullock.
I knew it was Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
I don't. I wanted to. I've always wanted to. I've never.
I only like her.
She was okay in Speed.
I only like her because I find her attractive.
I don't find her attractive either.
I do.
I've seen her in a handful of good roles, and she seems like a cool person or whatever. But she's never come across that great. She has chemistry with Brad Pitt, but that's about it.
Sexy voice, sexy mommy voice.
Okay, Brad Pitt he's hotter now than he was when he was young.
I don't find him attractive.
Really?
Mm-mm. You know who does? My dad calls him his movie boyfriend.
It's Brad fucking Pitt.
I know.
Of course. I don't know.
See, I'm controversial about men. Because I don't really like Ryan Reynolds. I don't find him attractive.
Really?
Yep. I
mean, I'm not drooling over him, but
okay, that's the thing.
It's a meme. That's the thing. It's because it's a bit of a meme.
It's a meme, but they're serious too.
A little bit.
Not a little bit. They are serious. Yeah, I'm telling you. If they were gay, they would go gay for Ryan Reynolds.
Well, I know that.
I am not. I am on the Ryan Gosling train. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, this is fine. This is an acceptable answer.
It's still a Ryan.
Yeah, this is fine. As long as it's not a Chris.
No way. We have 3 talking points.
No.
Oh wait, I went first, right? Yeah. So, what else have you been consuming?
I read another book.
Oh my gosh, what book is it?
So I read DC versus Vampires. It is.
Oh, I've been seeing those around.
It is similar to Deceased. It is a non-canonical, spooky take on the DC universe.
The covers look horny.
It's a kind of horny. It's that horny.
Vampires are normally horny.
That is the thing. It's not like the old Twilight horny. It's like vampires are kind of by definition erotic. So it's got that vibe to it.
So it's like Underworld horny.
Yeah, something like that. So this came out last year, 2021. This is the first 6 issues of, I believe it is a 12-issue run in total, and then there's, I believe, 12 total like spin-off one-shot issues. These 6 issues were written by James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg, with pencils by Otto Schmidt, who has very great art. The designs are mostly twists on like what the current in-universe design is. So you get your Tim Drakes and your Damian Waynes have like their current outfits. It matches up a little bit. So it's like, ooh, this could happen. Ooh, which I like. It makes for it's understandable like company hegemony. Sorry, words.
Gemini.
The art, just in general, the action is really good. It's clean. It's very stylized. It's sharp and it's bright.
Right.
It's really fun. A lot of the plot. So basically, vampires. They start infecting superheroes, and there's a vampire king because vampires always have a king, and that's basically it. Like it's part of it's a mystery. So one of the original Justice League starts off infected.
Ooh.
It is someone. I'm not going to tell you who it is. And then
I bet I know.
And then they kill one of their besties, and it's very sad because that one can't be turned because of reasons. And then it starts spreading, and then
Wait, they kill them because it can't be turned?
Yes. It's a whole thing.
Batman.
No. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of Batman involvement in this, but I appreciate the fact that it's not a Batman-centric story. Because Batman has an extended family, it is relevant, and the villain, the king, who is revealed at the end of this, so like the midpoint of the story, the darkest moment, it is part of the Bat family, but it's not very Bat-centric. It's just by population numbers. There's a lot of Bat people. It's a lot of stuff to do with the Justice League.
Guess who the Bat?
I'm not going to answer.
Fuck.
You have to read it. The plot that they have here is a lot of, it's blood and DNA results and all sorts of stuff. It's very, very contrived. But the thing with this book is it takes itself a bit less seriously than Deceased does. Deceased is pretty well known for like being an alternate universe take that has surprisingly heartfelt stuff in it, just like Injustice comics were, because Tom Taylor is great. This is less serious than that. It's still good, but it does take itself a bit less seriously. It doesn't focus on the drama as much as it focuses on the action, which is fine. There are a few characterizations that I think are a bit off here and there. It's nothing atrocious, but something I think would have been interesting is if it was like, whoa, vampires, but like they're still people, like they don't want to infect people. They're still themselves.
Yeah, they're still.
I think
understanding.
it's more of a drama focused story if you do that, but like who do you tell? How do you go about like keeping yourself alive while not infecting people? That's an interesting story. That's the direction I would have taken. But this one
Drink
is
the blood of rats.
This one is legit ass. You're a vampire. Now you are evil. Like you still have all your memories and stuff, but like you're evil and you want to spread the virus and hail the king. It's goofy, but it is fun. It's very overdramatic, and I like it. There are just a couple of characterizations and weakish motivations that are kind of meh. There's a lot of Green Arrow in this. He has close to the amount of like quote unquote screen time as Batman and his family does, because the Green Arrow kills people and is not afraid to just shoot a vamp through the head, which is really cool. It's fun. It's only half the story, half of the main story, so it does end on a bad note, on like a sour note. Be the darkest moment. All of the bad things went wrong. It was a very nice hardcover, though. I would have preferred this in a trade, but because of how DC does their books, they release their hardcovers first, blah, 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 but whatever. It has a nice dust jacket. The physical book is actually easier to open up. It's not one of those, they're like waxy hardcovers. They're like really buttery smooth on the outside. They like it feels like you have to pry them open. You feel like you're gonna rip the book apart. It's not quite that bad. It's a bit looser, which is nice. There's a lot of alternate covers in the back, which is fucking awesome. There's so many great alternate covers and stuff like that, which is good. It justifies its value. It was $25. I would say 20 would probably be a better thing for this. I enjoyed it. I hope the second half is a little better. It goes a bit further in depth on the motivations. I'm assuming that all of the villain-based spin-off issues are going to be cool as shit, just like Deceased was. So I dig it. It's spooky. It's got a lot of blood. There's a couple of really cute moments, which are nice. It has a little bit of, like, the moderately wholesome, like, Batman's, like, testing the Bat family. He's like, I need to figure out which one of you fuckers is a vampire.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and like he makes them all, like he makes Alfred make them all like coffee or hot chocolate, and Damien's like, I don't drink coffee, and it's like and Alfred's like, I made you hot chocolate with marshmallows, and it's so funny. And then like he makes them hold like a cross, and then Damien isn't a vampire, and then everyone's like, well, we thought it was Damien because it's Damien, he's a little shit. And then Alfred's like, I see you didn't have me drink the tea, sir. I appreciate the fact that you trust me. And Batman's like, so I replaced all of the water in the water in like the water heater in the furnace with holy water. So you've been taking holy baths for like a week now. I like that. It is.
I love
it
shit
is.
like
it is
that.
the goofy, over the top. Batman's prepared for everything, but
Yeah.
it's self-aware that that's goofy, and I like that. It's fun. It's worth a loan. It's definitely worth buying at some point. I'm hoping that they have all of them in like one chunky, complete collection.
I would buy it like that.
Because that's what they're definitely going to do with DC's, because DC's just really popular, and it's on its last book right now. So once that's done, I'm assuming they're going to... It might not be enough for an omnibus, but like a really big trade, the complete collection type ones. Those are nice, and I like those. Those are like my favorite types of books to buy. They're like $30 to $50. They're big, they're easy to read because they're paperbacks, and they're not like... It's done. It's done. I don't have to have a bunch of them that don't match and all sorts of shit. It's fun. Vampires.
Nice.
It's the end of Spoopy month. How sad. Jacob isn't here to see it. But he's probably off getting ghost pussy or something. The gussy, if you will.
Wow. The kabussy.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's kabussy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, ghost pussy. That's what Jacob's into for sure.
We don't really know.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know him that well. I've only known him my entire life, but I don't really know him. Maybe
obviously because you don't know his type, you don't understand that.
Maybe he's
you get very confused on what his type
because
is.
he has a bunch of different types that have very few through lines. I know what it is now. It took
more
more
a while.
It's more
where
complicated.
He just looks at me. He's like, "Hey, Collin, here's how it works." I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
It's because it's because we turned it into a game. I've been trying to figure it out for 10 years now. Yeah, maybe Jacob's a vampire and I don't know it. Maybe he is the vampire king. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dime Comic Bros podcast. Next episode, we will be going over the news. The next episode of Andor. I don't think we have another TV show coming up for a few more weeks.
No, I will be talking about Chainsaw Man, but not
more Chainsaw Man.
I think I'll be going by so I don't take up every single week will be a Chainsaw Man. I'll since I did 2 episodes today.
Yeah,
I'll do 2 episodes next time as well.
Duly noted, good sir. Jacob might be back from his secret mission next week. We don't totally know. Hopefully. And then the week after that, we got some new interesting stuff coming up because it's not spooky month. Oh, next week we got to start the bonk jar. Fuck! I gotta find a mason jar.
Oh shit!
That's such a good joke. That's gonna go well.
Oh,
yes, but it'll be fun. If you would like to support this show, you can go ahead and go over to patreon.com/dimecomicbros, like our 2 patrons right now, Jeff Florence and Caitlin. They help keep the lights on, support this show. They send Jacob on his secret spooky missions. If you'd like to get your name shouted out every episode, get a bunch of cool stickers designed by Collin, get sketches done by Collin, early access to this podcast as well as our other podcast, Dime Gaming Bros, and exclusive access to Dime Comic Bros Happy Hour, which is where usually the 3 of us will hang out, have a beer or a cup of coffee, talk about some weird shit. Sometimes it's comic booky, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's about hot dogs, like last week. This week, it's just going to be me, so stay tuned for that, whatever the hell I come up with. Big thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. Over at the Mega Store, they got everything under the sun. They got comics, they got games, they got movies, they got video games, they got D&D, they got board games, they probably got Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they got everything.
They do.
Shop there for all of your nerdy, geeky needs, and tell them that we sent you. And then you can check out our poster in the back wall because they support us.
Slap that poster when you come in.
Slap it. Don't slap the employee, slap the poster.
Yeah, because every time I come in...
I slap Kyle, but that's because we're special.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it.
Slap?
I don't know, maybe.
Oh.
Don't worry about it. Slap the poster. Don't slap the employees. They will not like that. Don't, and if you do slap the employees, do not tell them that we told you to slap the employees.
That would be so bad.
We have nothing to do with you slapping employees, but we will have everything to do with you getting good luck by going in the store and slapping our poster.
Yes. And slap it when you leave, too.
Yes. It is a good luck charm only in the store.
Yes.
If you slap it and then leave without re-slapping it,
you'll never get that good luck ever again.
No. You will have bad luck while you're in the real world.
Yes.
But in the domain of the comic book shop, you will have good luck. You will find cool exclusive covers and stuff.
And I know this because I forgot to slap it while leaving last time I was there.
And then you blew a tire.
And I have been having a bad, 3 weeks.
Hee hee. I
just built the-
I just built different guy. Your Honor, my client is simply built different. Zack Snyder shoots the Joker saying we live in a society just for the lulls. You're not a man.
Fuck your face hole. A third one? Really? Wow.
He is the piss man.
How come whenever you poo-poo, it's always pee-pee time? But when pee-pee time, it's not always poo-poo time? Answer that question.
Shut up.
You shut up.